What's going on, Wolfpack? Time again for another wolfofbricks.com update. I am Jim, and of course, this is where we talk about Lego investing and reselling. So I'm very happy to be back. I was out sick for 2 weeks. It was crazy. I had the stomach virus 1 week. The next day I felt great. I woke up the following day and I had this terrible sore throat and I just tapped out again for another week. Was even in the hospital for a little bit. So happy to be back and hoping to finish out the year strong on YouTube. All right, so you saw the thumbnail, right? This is going to be side hustles, real side hustles to generate money, and the purpose is to buy Lego. Now, for those of you that don't know, in order to buy a pallet worth of Lego, right, about yay high, you need between $7,500 to $10,000 to buy a pallet. So the goal in this video is to kind of give you ideas on how you can raise that much of extra cash at the end of the year. We're getting ready to go into January, right? So this time next year, everybody could listen to the video and maybe make some good decisions and come up with enough cash to buy a pallet. So these are side hustles. These are not sit on your couch hustles. You're actually going to be doing some hustling. Some will be more of a hustle than others, and that's just the way it is. Some of this stuff I've seen on other YouTube videos, and I've just thought they were kind of rubbish. They didn't explain a lot of things, but I'm hoping to explain this to you. Number one, collect scrap metal. Now here's the thing, right? I've seen this on other videos, and the people that have talked about this, like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, these guys do not know what they're talking about, because I actually know a lot about this stuff. So just like any side hustle, you want to minimize the time that you're taking to make this money, right? You want to be as efficient as possible, be in and out, boom, right? So when we're talking about scrap metal, we're talking about going out to auto garages, right? This is something that I'm happy to share because I no longer work at an auto garage. I used to manage a lot of auto garages, so hopefully what I'm sharing with you will help you navigate getting to the finish line as quick as possible, right? You're probably going to need a pickup truck. There's no way around this. So if you don't have a pickup truck, you may want to go ahead and fast forward a little bit, right? But you're going to want to pick up the right type of scrap. You're going to want to pick up alloy rims, right? The steel wheels that are on some cars, like a Corolla or something like that, you're not going to get a lot of money, right? So you're wanting to go after the low-bearing fruit. If you're trying to be in and out quick, you don't want to go after any rotors, right? Rotors are terrible when it comes to scrap. You're going to want to go ahead and get other things like used car batteries. You could get $5 a used car battery, right? If you have a pickup truck, you may want to go ahead and start collecting used tires. I would definitely connect with the used tire company, because you want to make sure that you don't collect 100 tires and then go ahead and do nothing with them, right? And you have to know a little bit about tires too. You don't need to know a lot, but you should probably go on YouTube a little bit. But once you get into a rhythm, you can start getting used tires, used batteries, a lot of scrap, and you can start making easily $100 a day. Whenever I would take over a new auto garage, I would immediately start collecting the scrap. I wouldn't let the scrap people go ahead and take it. And the reason why that was because I was wanting to save up enough money to get a gas propane grill, right? So that would kind of bring the morale up, and they would say, oh, Jim isn't such a bad guy anyway. Once we got the grill, then I would start buying them steaks with the scrap. So if you know what you're doing, you can make some money. I don't want to say a lot, sometimes a lot, but you should be able to make some money whenever it comes to getting scrap from auto garages. I definitely don't recommend, just trolling through the neighborhoods and seeing, on trash night to see if there's a used TV or a washer and dryer. Just don't do any of that crap. Just build a relationship with a chain of auto repair garages, and you should be making money in no time. The second thing that you could do as a side hustle, and this is staying home exclusively, is to teach English as a second language. Now, there's quite a few websites out there that you could sign up and teach English as a second language. A lot of them will say that you do need a bachelor's degree, so you will need that. And you can have a bachelor's degree in anything. it doesn't matter. You just need a bachelor's degree. And then you need to apply, which usually isn't that difficult. And then next thing you know, I think the wait time is 3 or 4 weeks. I looked into it, but I'm just too busy. I just have other things to do. The thing about it is you do get paid about $10 an hour, sometimes between $10 and $12 an hour. Well, Jim, that's garbage. Why are you even mentioning it if I'm only going to be making between $10 to $12 an hour? Well, here's the thing. If I was making a YouTube video for non-Lego resellers, I probably wouldn't mention that as a side hustle. The reason why I'm mentioning it to this channel is because the cool thing about Lego resellers is we just don't make money. We multiply money quickly, right? So we're able to take $100 and turn it into $300 in, about 3 years, right? Sometimes 4. It all depends what the situation is. And another thing about Lego reselling that I've mentioned in the past is you want to keep an eye out for your hourly wage. You want to make sure that you're doing at least $100 an hour, right? When it comes to Lego reselling. Well, if you're one of those people, and I know many out there that are, on average making $200 or $300 an hour, if you were to sit back and do an hour of teaching English as a second language, you would still be above the $100 an hour threshold because this is contributing to Lego reselling. The third side hustle that you may want to consider is becoming a public notary. Now, here's the thing. I understand public notaries do not make that much money, right? They make maybe $25 a stamp and stuff like that. But here's the deal, and I've actually looked into this. I think I might do this as a actual side hustle because Lego's no longer a side hustle. It's something else. It's not a full-time job, but it's definitely not a side hustle for me. So you also want to keep in mind that there's different levels of public notary, right? Sure, you can make the $25 a stamp and something like that and be on your way. But that's really not why you should have this as a side hustle. You want to be making $300 an hour, $600 an hour, right? So there's different levels of public notary. You could be at house closings, right? For the homeowners out there, such as myself, whenever you go down that line item, that there's a spot that you paid hundreds of dollars for a public notary, right? So what I would do if I were to get into this thing tomorrow and I just got praised as a public notary, I would put up a website. I would have it as travelingpublicnotary.com or something like that because everybody's lazy, right? Everybody likes the convenience of having a roaming public notary show up. And it is worth it. I Googled traveling public notaries in my city, and there's only 2 that showed up on Google, right? They each have web pages, and honestly, those web pages aren't that good. So you will be putting a little bit of money into it, like maybe $200 at the start. You should be able to go ahead and make that back easily. And, don't be afraid to just, start out at the $25 a stamp level until you get to that higher level and have a goal where at the end of 6 months or 9 months, where you might be going to a house closing attorney's office and get paid some money and decent money for that. Also keep in mind, right, you only need to make I think the total is $360 a day to make 6 figures if we're talking 40 hours a week. So I'm hoping that I'm starting to get your mind to creatively think of ways how you can maybe be successful at being a public notary. And they are in demand right now. If you go to YouTube, even TikTok, I know some people have a problem with TikTok. I have a problem with TikTok too, but I still use it anyway. There are people on the internet that make over 6 figures that will show you how to do it. They're that passionate about it. So feel free to go ahead and check it out. Another side hustle that you may want to think about, and I don't want to use the word hustle around this because it might not sound legitimate, but you would be doing this in a legitimate way, is to open up a charity. Have a 501c. Have it go to, empowering some group of people. Have it go to education. You're already into Lego, so you might as well be able to loop that into education. There's this gentleman I know. He's a public bus driver. He's a retired public bus driver in Columbus. He makes $8,000 a month, and he does not have a huge setup. I think he works maybe 20 hours a month, right? And he makes a lot of money in his charity. He has something to do with boys' youth and basketball and other things, keeping children off the streets and stuff like that. And there are people that are donating to his charity, right? So I'm not going to say anything else about that other than go down the 501(c) rabbit hole and go ahead and see if anything of that nature interests you. And finally, I wouldn't necessarily call this a side hustle, but I would call this, somewhere between a side hustle and maybe a full-time job if you don't like the job that you already have, is be a coder, right? To learn SQL only takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and there's a starting rate at $55,000. After 2 years, you're somewhere around $75,000. I know in my city, if you know SQL plus another coding language out there like Python or something like that, I think after 4 or 5 years, the average salary in my city is around $90,000. So just an idea, feel free to go down that rabbit hole. Again, there's a lot of SQL people, a lot of coding people on TikTok and YouTube, especially TikTok. They're so passionate sharing this information with you. And if you reach out to them, they will reach out back to you. So that's it. 5 real side hustles for going into 2023 to hopefully save you up enough money, $7,500 to $10,000, and you could potentially buy a pallet of Lego, and then you could flip that, and then next time maybe buy 2, maybe buy 5, maybe buy 15. So the opportunities are endless. Everybody that resells Lego knows the opportunities out there are endless, but I just wanted to plant some information into your ear and see if that was something positive that you may have enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the video, my friends. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, I'm Jim with wolfofbricks.com. Always go out there and get it.